Hey, welcome everyone to the Sketch Zone podcast. I'm Carlos Gomez. Let's go ahead and welcome Charlie B. Williams III.
What's up, everyone? I'm here. It's another wonderful Thursday evening. Friday morning if you're listening. Saturday morning if you're listening later. But I'm here. Hey.
I don't think it's Saturday morning anywhere right now.
We're in the future, Zach. Jack.
Or are you talking to our future listeners?
Mm-hmm. If they were to start playing it on Saturday morning.
Okay.
From Thursday.
Okay.
Can we talk to people from the past?
Oh, you're such an out-the-box thinker.
Al Pasto.
Really?
Oh, hey. Jack Kasperzak.
I'm here from the past. I don't know if everybody ever says that in a movie. It's always from the future. Nobody's like, past. I guess they have. Maybe they have.
Didn't Back to the Future do that?
What would because if you're coming from the past, you're going to trip up all over yourself, and ain't nobody got time for that. Like, someone from the past is going to come and see like Instagram, and they're going to be like, "Oh, what?"
Well, that's kind of like what happened. Like Thor,
Yeah, Doc did that too, in Back to the Future. Came from the past.
That's true.
Yeah.
Great Scott!
Kids.
Now that we got that figured out, let's go ahead and get into.
Let's go up to the canvas here and let's get started.
You missed Price
Yeah, you did.
Every day's a good day when you're
Get these out of order. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, we got to switch things up every once in a while. No, I ruined it. My bad.
It's okay. All right.
So we'll do this. I was excited because this week we're going to be giving away. Hold on.
Oh.
Let me show you. Sketch Wallet 2018.
Is that zebra print?
I wanna open this so I can show you guys, but I'm not going to.
Don't, because you're tainted.
You need to leave it.
This is not mine.
That is not
whoever
yours.
wins this might want to leave it in the plastic for future artists.
Chevron, that's what it is.
See what I did there? Complete circle. So future artists will be drawing in this wallet from the past. And by the past, I mean
here we go.
present. Because I presently holding this, and it's going to be a present for someone who wins, who has participated. Not only will you get this wonderful little wallet, but you will get this wonderful Sketch Wallet series of Sketch Wallet stickers.
I love the clap.
And a Sketch Wallet pin.
Yay!
And just because we're completely self-serving, you get a Sketch Zone sticker.
Yes.
Sketch Zone magnet. Woohoo! That's right, folks. So, enough of that. Let's find out who participated, who's going to win. This week, we are looking at a pelican learning in a penthouse.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody went dirty.
I thought they would, but I guess
I wanted to, but then I was like, that's just typical. I need to be careful. I need to be grown. Is what I need to be.
You need to think out of the box for yourself.
Yes.
Hey, welcome, Sylvester. Welcome, Steve.
Hello. Hey, guys.
There's a few more of you in there. Let us know that you are. I wanted to go dirty.
Go dirty. I want to go dirty.
I always get a
go high, Carlos.
Going there, and so I want it to be different. And we'll see. All right, so let's see what the nation did. Here we go. Let's do this again. Pelican learning penthouse. Cheap Anita. So
Yoda chimed in.
First time drawer, long time listener, Yoda, Chris Tadine. He jumped in with this gem
and killed it.
Yeah, he did.
Chris is gonna start like just letting us remember. We forget. Just if you forgot.
He's like, yeah, just so you guys remember who I am.
Just so you know.
I still got it.
Still got it. Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. Yeah, Sylvester. That's something that we've been talking about on the show. These fun prompts are a fun way to not only expand your network on Instagram, it gives you a reason to draw, so you get better at drawing, and they're wonderful portfolio pieces.
And if they're terrible and not good portfolio pieces, they're good for warming up.
They're good for warming up.
Warm-up
in the microwave.
Smelling warm-ups.
So good job, Chris, but we don't have to tell you that because you're all of our teachers.
This is true.
Let's see. We got I like this one. Randall Outside, I believe it's how you say his name, and I'm assuming it's a he.
Bringing back the
but yeah, I mean, this is a perfect example of it doesn't have to be a finished piece. Just get it down and I like this. I like the background with the buildings out there. Helps selling the fact that it's a penthouse.
Scooping up his students.
And since it's a bird of the sea, he's got the helm of the ship up on the wall. You see that?
Cheeky, yeah.
I like it. Oh wait, there's more. Oh, that's what we did. Okay, moving on. Hey-o! My guy, he was learning.
My guy.
I know he's got feathers, but strangely he seems naked.
He seems shaven. It does. He does seem like a shaven turkey or like drumstick of some sort.
He got that off-brand apple. he got on eBay.
He's old. He's got old pelican spots.
He's got a O-pad.
Yeah, it's not even apple.
Yeah,
it's an orange.
I should have made
like A-pad.
I should have made like a bird dropping. Now that I'm thinking about it, that would have been funny. Bird dropping instead of an apple. Anyway, moving on.
I don't know if that would have read.
wouldn't have translated.
Yeah.
10-minute subsurface scattering.
We got some Joey Wall art.
I like that. And he's trying to see if this is meta. It's a fun prompt, and he's doing a speed prompt in a fun prompt.
Oh, he's learning how to draw subsurface scattering. I like it.
Real confused. Oh, and his beak has got the subsurface scattering on it. Look at that.
Crazy. Look at you going into different levels, Mr. Joey Artwall.
Very nice.
Let's see who else. Oh, Maestro, please.
I love the little brushwork experimentation he's got going on here. A little bit
so
of
cool.
Pointillism, kind of, loosening it up. I like it.
Yeah.
Getting a little fuzzy, like I need my glasses.
I love one of the things that I always look forward to when we're looking at Shallow stuff is the acting that he does, or that the characters do in his pieces. They're always so wonderfully lifelike, the poses.
Yeah.
So awesome, that guy. Thank you, Shiloh. Wonderful work. We got Pat Mast.
Oops, he's learning what a window is.
Hell yeah, he is. Not to clean your windows so good.
Right into that.
Pang.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, the pelicans are big. I feel like that'd be more than a pang.
Yeah.
That sound effect of pang is too light. The crash and.
All right, let's see who else. Oh, this is a really good one.
Well, what is this one?
I had to cheat a little.
Oh, look at you being cheeky.
for Inktober, but this one I had to cheat a little and kind of art direct my ink spots, kind of knowing where I was going, which is kind of against the entire concept, but
no, it's fair. I mean, killing two birds with one stone. So I think it's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah, we forgive you.
Okay, thanks.
And that's the last one. So that means that we had, with the exception of me and Jack, we had Chris, Randall, Joey, Shiloh, and Pat.
Okay.
So I have the list of folks right there. And we're going to go down. Chris is 1, Randall 2, Joey 3, Shiloh 4, Pat 5, right? So we're going to do this. Hey, Google, give me a random number between 1 and 5.
Okay.
Oh, I love the sound effects. Google.
3.
3, Joey Wall.
Whoa!
Joey.
Beautiful. Good job, Joey. So I'll be reaching out, getting your address, and getting this sent out to you right after I wrap everything back up. So yeah, I need to leave myself a note, reach out to Joey.
Very cool.
Cool. So congrats, Joey. So that means let's go back here.
Pick a new one.
Let's go back here. All right, you guys in the chat, start making your
Selections.
preferences. Yes.
Adjective, animal, character, action, style, and location.
First 3 win.
Ready and go.
And go. And there's usually like a 5-second delay, and then there's usually a few seconds where they're animal.
Animal.
We're gonna do an animal this time, which we know.
And they're like
Shiloh likes
stuff. They're not sure if they want to participate. Sylvester, give us another one if you want. Steve, talking to you. Shiloh's usually in here. Where are you at, Dave?
I love how they wait.
Action.
Okay.
All right, one more. This is going to be
Sylvester.
Just going to be Sylvester.
Oh, you, Sylvester.
Animal and an action.
Action.
That's good.
We can stop there too.
Good stop there. Should we roll them?
I say
Adjective. There we go. We
Roll
got
'em.
3.
Roll them.
Roll them.
How about a tender terrier marking?
Not
Front me it is. A
ripped
octopus screaming. Oh,
Yes.
this is a good one.
Yo,
I already have something in mind.
Perfect. It's been chosen. We
Good
agree.
job.
I'm agreeing.
I'm all for it.
Okay.
Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe every day
Paint.
Is he ripped fit? Or ripped as in pulled apart?
Could have ripped.
Ripped a fart?
Ripped a fart.
Okay.
And Sylvester says octopus. Perfect. He's in, I think. Hey, if you are in the chat room and like Sylvester and Steve, you can participate live.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can. That's right. Use the scheduled hotline. That's 408 sketch 8 408 753 8248. International callers, please use 011 408 753 8248.
What's up, Dave?
Operators are standing by. Hang on. Where'd it go?
Where'd it go?
Ripped octopus screaming.
You get it. Ripped octopus.
Yeah. So how's you guys' week going?
Pretty good.
That was a big sigh, man.
Yeah. I've been
He about inhaled his microphone.
Yeah, I have it. I have it. Like, I'm like kind of sitting down in my chair. I'm kind of. I need a new chair. Chat, everyone. I need a new chair. And I think I forget the chair. I forget what it's called. Philip, not Philip Morris, because that's
Philip Morris.
who Carlos used to work for.
Um,
No, Calvin Harris.
Herman Miller. That's a DJ.
Herman Miller. Yeah. Help me out, Jack. I know you know.
Harris.
I know you know because that was
Herman
a DJ,
Miller.
isn't it? Herman Miller.
Yeah, get you.
I want
yourself
one
a
of those
Get it.
because, like, chat. Look, I'm
don't
using
worry.
it
Now
right
that you said it in front of your phone, Facebook is going to start sending
Yeah,
you.
you're gonna get some. You're gonna get some advertisements.
It is. Isn't it? Damn it. That's totally gonna happen. But right now, if you look, I am
That's
using.
okay. You're also gonna get advertisements for Calvin Harris and
Yeah.
Philip Morris.
I'm using a regular old like phone.
Oh hell no! You got a folding chair. Get out of here.
The struggle is real over here. I mean, because I had
That's no good.
I had one at one point, and this is what my chair has degraded to. Because I was using the dining room table chair downstairs, and like you feel like that's like starting to break, and I'm like, yeah. At some point, I moved to this, and I just realized now when I'm trying to slouch that folding chairs aren't really good for that. So I'm having a rough week, but no, I need one of those new ones. What's it called again?
Herman Miller.
That's what it is.
It's been around a while. But
I've been looking around. I looked at those gaming chairs and stuff too, and I think I don't want one of those. I think they look uncomfortable. So I've been like trying to figure out. It's fall too, so getting close to the birthday month, which is in November. So I need to maybe treat myself this year. Cause I'm gonna spend a good amount of money. Like, how much money would you spend on a chair?
I mean, you're sitting in that thing.
A mediocre chair, you can easily spend $150.
Yeah, but I go
Oh, yeah,
through
yeah.
that chair. Like the podcast is rough on those chairs.
What you need to do is instead of spending a ton of money on a chair, you need to get a standing desk.
You could do that too, yeah.
I don't want to stand up though.
You can be like me. Mine,
had a
I'm
standing
sitting
desk
down.
too
I
at
push a
work.
button and it goes up, and I stand up.
Yeah, so you tell me just to stand up instead of having a chair?
Yeah, it's better for
It's
you.
good for you. You gotta get
Sitting is the new smoking.
As both of you guys are sitting right now.
Well, yeah, but towards the end of the show, I'll probably be
I'm
standing.
also smoking.
So yeah, that's so I'm not there with that. I want a good chair though. I get that. I used to have a standing desk at work, and then they changed it to those like stylish like work pod things, and I was like, and my boss wouldn't sell me the other one. So I don't know where that chair, that nice little standing desk was, but I love that little standing desk. You get routines at work, and then you just hit the button, and like everybody else in the room either ignores you or they have to hit the button and stand up too. It's great. It was a great like non-verbal way of like getting everybody to stand up because you're like, I'm doing it. And you hit the button, and all you hear is, and then everybody's like, "You son of a bitch," because then they feel guilty. I used to have old coworkers be like, "I'm not doing it." Just yell out, "I'm not doing it." 5 minutes later, like, "God damn it, everybody's standing," and they would stand up. It was great.
My thing was like, especially when I worked in Redwood City, which is part of Silicon Valley. I'd be in the car just getting to work. It would take me like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get there, I'd be standing for the first, 75% of the day. People are like, when are you going to sit down? And I was like, I've been in the car
for 3 hours already.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yes, I want one of those. I saw those chairs. I was like, ooh, the amount of money I was going to spend on another chair that's probably going to last me. My chairs don't last me that long. If you think about it in terms of the podcast, right? When I was living at the other house, and I was doing it in the dark, my wife behind me back in those days. I've been through 2 chairs since that. That shouldn't happen. If you think about it, your chair should be lasting you. That's what happens when you get those $150 Office Max chairs or whatever. I feel if you're a power chair sitter,
a power chair sitter.
yeah, like if you really If you
sit
really
down
work
and you're
that
just like,
cushion,
"Ugh."
yeah, like if you really work that cushion out week in and week out,
Stop flexing your butt muscles.
butt muscles are real, man. Sorry,
Man,
got a real one over here. But
like
like if you can
working
go
with
through a
muscle.
chair really quick. Like you can go through like one of them regular $150 chairs. It's supposed to last you at least what, good 3 or 4 or 5 years. I think the last one lasted good that long. The chairs don't last me that long anymore. This is where I'm at in my life right now, guys. I need a good chair at home. I have a really good Herman Miller, I think, at work. That inadvertently we all got the same looking colored chairs when they got those new pods when we moved into the new place. And then I realized we had some old chairs, and I realized we had like a ergonomic Herman Miller looking type of chair. I snagged it really quickly. And everybody's like, "Ooh, this is a nice chair." I was like, "Yep," and it better not leave my desk. Yeah, so now I'm kind of spoiled. So now I was watching another Twitch streamer because we always watch to get like pointers or whatever, and he started going in about chairs, and he was like, "Yo, don't get these like DX Racer, whatever, be all the chairs that all everybody has." Because he said they put your back in a curve, like, and I always thought that because I don't have those
You
chairs.
can do it, put your back into it.
Because like you know how the chairs got like they're like narrow, with the high backs, but that means that like it's not really. Oh, Carlos is standing up. That means it's not really like flush. And these things, I've seen some of those other ones. They like curve to your back, and the really expensive ones are like they look like they got like mechanical spines in them that like senses your back and all this other stuff. But I don't need all that. I'm thinking a good, just decent middle of the road.
Good chairs.
Put some money into it.
I mean, the amount of time that folks spend sitting.
Yeah, and they got 12-year warranties on those things too. So I think that'd be good. I want a chair like that. That's where I'm at right now. Because this phone chair, yeah, it's not working.
Hot trash. Hot
Garbage.
All right,
Jack, how you feeling?
I'm having issues.
I'm
Jack is having a pretty good week.
Is he? I love Jack's shirt.
I was for those of you who haven't got enough of hearing me on this show, you can go on over to the animated journey with our friend Angela, who was on the show.
Oh,
yeah.
I was a guest on there, actually a 2-time guest.
Oh, so you're like a regular.
I got a 2-parter. So
He gets chatty.
I did. I got chatty. So they had to split me up into 2 parts as to not scare away their listeners.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, it's a good show.
What's it about?
A little bit of everything. It's a little bit of how I got started and how I got where I am now. But then we also talk about some other fun stuff about making films as kids and talk a little bit about the pitch process.
You were dropping some an obscene amount of knowledge when it comes.
You know what? The funny part, because I listened to their commentary, obviously that commentary that they add after the fact, their little like review of how it went, and they said the same thing, and I didn't. To be honest, I didn't even realize all the stuff I was saying until I went back and listened. I was like, "Yo,
I'm calling you Oracle."
You kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out yet. I have to check that out. How long is it? The 2 parts.
I mean, the whole show's just right around an hour, but they do like a news and a industry segment for like 15-20 minutes. So I think I'm on there for just over half an hour.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, definitely worth taking a look. Another thing that's happening this week is before we go there, Charlie was talking about video games and stuff, and if you haven't heard, I think we talked about it briefly last week.
What's up?
Where Google is trying to use Chrome as a gaming
platform
device, I guess.
Cloud platform. Yeah.
And they got together with Ubisoft, I believe.
You're right.
And they have a playable browser version of Assassin's Creed, and I got approved to be in the beta testing and all that good stuff. Now the funny thing is, well, before we go there,
All right.
I fired it up, and I'm playing it, and the cool thing is they knew how to hook me because I'm a huge fan of the movie 300.
Oh yeah, they went that way. They went that route.
They took it to King Leonidas, and you're running around and kicking and stabbing and punching and doing all kinds of stuff, which is a lot of fun.
You got controller support?
I believe so.
Okay.
But I was playing with my keyboard and my mouse. Now that's where the funny part happened, because they give you the quality of the game itself is outstanding. It's just like playing in a console. And they have the storyline and they have all that good stuff, and you're running around and you're chopping people and stabbing them, like I said. But then it gets to a part where they force you to click your middle mouse button.
Really?
Yeah. So I have one of these Apple Magic mice. And then to show you what the life in life, you have your ups and you have your downs, and I've been down here for a minute, right? So to show you where I am as far as life goes, I was playing the game. I was having a ball stabbing Persians, and if you're Persian, I'm sorry. It's the game. I know a couple Persians.
Write it down.
Persians, and
I was having a ball. Stabbing Persians.
And then they said you have to click the middle mouse button. So I was like, all right, cool, no problem. So I have this travel mouse that I have. It's Bluetooth, and it's got the middle mouse button and everything. And I go and I get it and I open it up, and it's got this little USB Bluetooth thing that you plug into your computer, and that's how your mouse knows to connect.
Right.
And so I open up the underside of the mouse, and I go to pull out the little Bluetooth thing, and it's gone.
Uh-oh.
So now I have a mouse. It's got plenty of battery.
They didn't give you the Bluetooth dongle?
No little Bluetooth. No, I had it. Hey, Joey. By the way, congratulations.
Welcome, Joey.
Yeah, Joey, you won. So I'm going to be hitting you up and getting your address later. But yeah, so I'm playing the game, and it's asking me to click this middle mouse button, and then I'm tearing up the house trying to figure out where the hell this stupid little Bluetooth thing is. I don't know. So now I can't even play the damn game.
No.
Can't you you can remap the middle mouse button.
But that's just it. It won't.
In the settings?
It doesn't connect because the little Bluetooth dongle is gone.
As I'm saying, you can just remap it to a different button.
No, you're not understanding.
Your faceless mouse. Your buttonless mouse, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So actually tell it that. Yeah. I don't know. I have to figure. That's just a damn dongle.
You hear him?
Exactly.
Damn dongle.
I don't know. I got to figure that shit.
Write that one down. That's a good one.
Damn dongle.
So yeah. It's been a while since I got into gaming, just because I have a lot to do and not a lot of time, and it's pretty easy for me to get somewhat addicted to gaming.
All right, so how was the
Call of Duty? Oh boy,
the new one out too?
If I got paid an hourly rate to play that shit, I'd be all right.
It's true. Next week, Carlos is streaming Call of Duty, the new one. With that being said, though, since you tried it out though, was it laggy? Was the connection good? I mean, I know it looked good because of whatever.
It was great.
Yeah.
Everything.
But
It was just like, back in the day when you used to have to install the game on your computer and then you can play. It was just like that. It was full screen. The graphics were great.
Yeah, so it wasn't
the reaction was great. There was no lag, none of that stuff. Like it was legit. It was really, really cool. Happy birthday, Joey Wall. See, I knew it was your birthday. I knew it was your birthday, and so I set it up for you to win. So yeah, so once I figure out what to do with this mouse thing, I'll be able to get back into being King Leonidas. What did you miss? Well, Joey Wall, it's his birthday. The fun prompt this week is
Octopus screaming.
Ripped octopus screaming. And it's Joey's birthday, and he won the sketch wallet.
Yeah, he happened to win.
Boom. So yeah. And I have a Bluetooth mouse that doesn't have a Bluetooth dongle. And therefore
dongle.
I can't play this goofy game. But the little bit that I did, it was totally worth it. And I think I'm gonna.
That's cool. You have no lag and stuff. It could be.
Yeah,
it could be looking at the future.
It's crazy.
On other ones, I've heard mixed reviews about it, even amongst my peers that like the game a lot. I'm a little because on one other hand, it kind of takes out the control from the user in terms of what they have. Some people are still purists and they like some people are like resistant to digital format, like right now you can download every game you want now and just download it straight to your consoles and whatever. But some people like the notion of having the physical copy. They feel in control of their, like, what do they call it, DRM or whatever, digital rights,
sure,
media or whatever.
They feel in control.
They feel like they have control. Like they can go sell it. They want to in terms of like, using trading stuff in if you want to get into that whole thing. But having it totally like automated, if you will, and having that access like taken away from you a little bit, it kind of.
But at the same time, I don't.
That's a big thing for gamers. That's a big thing back and forth now of like somebody else sits on somebody else's server, which can be taken away.
Meanwhile, I bet you that they stream music.
But
some of them probably maybe do.
But don't most games now require a login and a subscription and all sorts of stuff? So even if you have it, they could just take it away anyway.
Not really, though. I mean, it requires that if you want to play online, but the physical game is still like you have more control if you have that. If you don't, I mean, there's been situations where networks have gone down and you can't play your games that you've bought.
Yeah, but at the same time, if the Xbox network goes down, you still can't play.
Sure, you can.
Oh,
yeah. So a game like Assassin's Creed, you can play all day.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you have that service where you get to play on that beautiful gaming rig that's on a server somewhere, which is awesome because it's like playing the game on the best specs, and from a developer standpoint, it's showing the game at the specs that you want it to be shown at, and not in kind of lower specs. That's beautiful, It's like, don't have to worry about the lowest common denominator with a console and the old tech that they have in there. You could just throw it a nice huge machine that's got like unlimited RAM and all that good stuff, and you can be like, especially if it's on a server, yeah, that's perfect. Imagine playing. Now the big thing will be imagine playing multiplayer. I mean, right now they started off with a single player game, but imagine playing multiplayer.
That's gonna be
on servers that are good. Like it's like you don't have to even worry about your connection at home. Your connection at home just has to be good. but the connection to on the server is going to be like amazing. So when they open it up to being a multiplayer thing, it's like if everybody got into this whole like cloud portal gaming, whatever you want to call it, everybody's connection will be like amazing, you know?
Yeah,
Because it's like renting a pretty computer, right? Or an awesome computer.
But at the same time, what's going to happen is all of this net neutrality stuff. So your gaming is going to be affected.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't have that copy anymore.
Yeah, that's true. See, I don't have a problem with that if you give me a cheaper price.
Which is what a lot of them are going to now too. Like there's a bunch of things like Xbox has this really crazy deal right now where it's like a service and then you get like their Xbox games. It's not the Xbox Live online thing, but it's like another thing on top of it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically you pay so much a month or whatever and you get access to all these different games that you can play, newer games and like incentives and all this stuff. And it's going toward that model of like, games as a service, subscription type thing on top of like your regular old subscription to the actual console, Yeah. It's like you can do the Xbox Live, but you can also do the Xbox, games thing or whatever. And now you get all these games that'll come out each month and blah, blah, blah. And all the new games that'll come out each month, but and it's just like if you have this service, you also get all these perks and get all these new games that you wouldn't get. Or you get all these games that come out,
And that's kind of where everything is going, right? Adobe's doing it.
Yeah.
Autodesk is doing it.
Yeah, it's like that whole like, DLC downloadable content, residual income coming in for all the developers.
Long Arm is asking, what's your current favorite game?
Oh, See, that's a hard one because like I'm picky now. In the games, there's some good ones coming out, but my current one, if I had to pick a current one right now that I'm playing like right now, is I haven't got into any of the single player games. I'm playing a sports title right now because it's quick. I can jump in and jump out, and I don't need to feel like I need to keep going. I come from playing a lot of online MMOs and stuff like that. It used to suck up a lot of time you would have to log into and stuff. And I don't do that anymore. But my sports title is I'm really into FIFA. So I really got into soccer like 6 years ago or 7 years ago, something like off a bet at my old game studio because they said, Charlie, you don't know anything about soccer.
And you can't tell Charlie he doesn't know anything about anything because
I was like, it's a game. I'll buy it and whoop your ass in that. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference. And they're like, no, you know nothing about this game, and they were right. I bought it, and I was like, oh crap, I don't know anything. What am I doing in this? It was the hardest game I've ever picked up to try to figure out how to learn. And then I got into soccer, and that year it happened to be the World Cup that year too. So then it made it full circle of like, oh, sweet. So I got into soccer really heavily. And now I'm like a legit soccer fan. My Man City team is like amazing, but like it's kind of cool. So that's what gaming can do for you, right? Like I follow soccer now for the last 6 or 7 years because of that. And then played it, got my butt whooped by everybody. And then after, 2 months, went around and beat everybody else back, and I won and beat everybody, and then just walked away in the sunset. But now the addiction is still there, so I buy it every year. I took a hiatus for like 2 or 3 years, but I buy it every year. Well, FIFA 18 right now. Well, the new one's out right now. FIFA 19. I need to pick that one up, but soccer is the thing I go to right now until one of these big games come out. You got your classics. Oh, somebody said Last of Us. Who said that? Sylvester, yeah, that's a great one. Great single player ones. There's been some great ones. The God of War that came out this year has been great.
Oh yeah,
Story Perfect 10. in terms of a game. As a developer, perfect 10. Like
Nice.
it's the cornerstone of what you go for. It's the pinnacle of what you go to work on if you try to be in the game industry. That game, it's not like kind of a 10 to some people, or like, oh, you're fanboying that studio really hard. No, it's like legit 10 all the way around.
Yeah.
Like anybody who don't play the game, like Jack could pick up that game in 5 minutes and be like, "Ooh, this story seems really good." You know, he can appreciate the story and the quality that goes into in the animations and all that good stuff instantly. It's like got something for everybody. Used to say that for like a lot of the Naughty Dog games too. You know, even for somebody like my wife who would like not be into games at all, besides the random, whim when everybody got into playing the Wii. She's even like watched one of those games and wanted to watch the cutscenes and then yelled at me for not being good enough so she can keep watching the cutscenes because the story was interesting. That's a weird juxtaposition to be in. She'd be like, can you skip all this? I really want to know what wants to happen next. I'm like, well, it doesn't really work that way, but I'll try to do better so you can watch this. So like I rate games. Those are some of those games I rate. They're really, really good. Yeah, and like Last of Us is there, and there's a new one coming out for that one. So there's a lot of single player games to come out, but let's be honest, like Carlos said, I have trouble finishing single player games because they got a lot of stuff to do. So when I think about games now, maybe I'm getting older. Maybe I'm getting older.
Oh, damn you, responsibilities.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Jack, I'm a little scared right now. I just had an epiphany. But anyway, like maybe because of that, like I haven't finished God of War. It's good, but I don't want to jump back into because it's a lot of work. I think it'd be good for like a rainy day or something. Or maybe I'll just when I get back to it. Another one that's like doing that too is what is it? Oh, Spider-Man. I bought that new Spider-Man.
Oh, everybody's talking about Spider-Man.
It's good. It's legit good story. Like legit neighborhood Spidey. Like someone gave Stanley a hug. Like it feels so wholesome on a classic comic book level. And me in comic books, I'm like, I know who that is. And then they even gave nods and stuff. Randomly, Miles Morales is in this thing, which I'm like, wait a minute, why is he? You're like crossing over, the Spider-Verse there, and he talks. Oh, it's like great. It's good. Now I'm like in the middle of it, probably only 20, 30, 40% in. But like ask Charlie, as Charlie went back and played it, because now when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's daunting. Has like a lot of homework with it. Like I know where I'm at in the game, and it's not that I get messed up. It's just like, man, I could be playing that FIFA game right now and feel instantly satisfied because that's got like a level of like competitiveness to it. I play the competitive mode because I want to be like, all right, cool. There's these 10 modes or these 10 rankings. Yeah. The higher the ranking you go up, the less the pool of people. So the harder it gets. So at the top, there's like, if like ranking 8 or 9 has everybody and their mama in it when they first buy the game, ranking 3 or 4 maybe only have about 5,000 people in it worldwide. So like there's a level of like competitiveness that I love about sports games or fighting games and stuff like that like gives you incentive to play, but then at the end of the day you can jump out of it too. But that like you see a progression. I'm all about seeing results on a personal level. It sounds weird, I think, a little bit, but at the same time, it's like it's time well spent.
That's a fancy way of saying Charlie likes to show off and talk shit to his friends.
No, it's not even my friends. No one's into that like I'm in. No one's into like frame data on like a Street Fighter or like a fighting game level where I'm like, ooh, I have to figure out how to do this, and this. So I can win that round. No one's into like the true fighting games. If you're into fighting games, you know what I mean about studying frame data and all this other great stuff like they used to do in all the old school fighting games and stuff like that. That stuff is still happening with new fighting games, but
frame data?
Kind of stuff. Yeah. So like animations. Think about it in terms of animations, Jack. Like, all right, you pick Ryu, I pick Chun-Li. Ryu does his like uppercut. That uppercut move costs so many frames in terms of the animation to do it. So that means like if I pick a move that has a quicker animation, right? You can like beat out the frames based on like how long it takes for your character to recover. So at a high level, if you watch Twitch and you watch some of the fighting games, they know all this data, if you will, when they play. So they know how long a move takes to do. And based on how long those moves take to do, you can punish people, and you can basically at a analytical level outplay your opponent. It's amazing to watch. It's cool.
I still don't follow. Hang on.
Really?
Okay, I get that each move has a different number of frames in the animation.
Right.
But what is that? What do you use that for?
So you use that for in playing. So say you try to do an uppercut, right?
Yeah.
You do an uppercut, it costs 8 or 9 frames, right? But you miss, right? You whiff, right? You don't hit me, but you do your uppercut. So it's like that person that spams the buttons or something like that. So you play against somebody who knows how to play versus somebody who doesn't. Like, in order for that character to recover, right, it has to finish that uppercut animation. Even if it finishes the animation, it might still have a couple extra recovery frames that it has to do. In that span of time that you've whiffed, because you're just bashing buttons, a good player would know how to start a combo, right? And you can't physically do anything because the animation still has to finish, right?
Yeah.
But soon as they hit their inputs, right, then you start taking damage, right? So then you could do a combo. So that combo takes so long to finish, but since you were stuck in your like old animation, that's why it feels like if you play against somebody that knows what they're doing, it feels like you can't get a shot in, or it feels like you're watching yourself get your ass beat, because like you literally are, because like you literally like are using moves that cost a bunch of frames, and they're exploiting those things because they know that the computer is not going to give you control yet because it has to finish. And on a data level, that's what they're basically doing. So if you ever watch a Twitch stream, chat or anybody else, and you watch one of those like Team Spooky or like Street Fighter Invitationals or whatever, just type in Street Fighter and watch like Wednesday night fights or whatever that they'll have at USC or whatever, where they have these like pro players. They're all around the country, and this is one of the best things about Twitch. These the Street Fighter, like the fighting game community, FGC as they call it, the fighting game community on Twitch is amazing. I get into it, like I can watch that like watching a UFC fight, and it sounds crazy, but like
I can see that.
You see like on these Street Fighter, like some of these tournaments where you see like 5,000 people watching concurrently at the same time, or like 10,000 people watching a Evo. Evo is like the big huge world tournament they have in Vegas every year. I've watched some amazing rounds where, like, if you really get into it, like, you know, Street Fighter versus Capcom, or like Injustice, which is what NetherRealm here in Chicago did, the Mortal Kombat team. That's the other game they made, which is basically got all the DC characters, or Mortal Kombat for that matter. You got Street Fighter. I mean, even Smash Brothers, which I don't really think is a fighting game, but now that's turned into a fighting game because millennials or whatever. Anyway, so like, as a purist, yeah, I went there. You're like, you know, you can watch these guys because they know all this stuff. So if you get into it and say you play the game a lot, you're like online like me when I was playing a lot of those fighting games, and like you play fighting games, after a while you understand what's going on. So now it becomes really you have things called like footsies and stuff like that, which basically is like a chess match. Like, you know, I need to do a sweep here. If he does this move, if he jumps, I need to do an air cancel. Like, you know, I need to do a high uppercut to cancel his like jumping. You know, so you get guys who like get in there and don't know how to play as good, like doing random jumps and random things. Just like you play your friends or whatever growing up. You can't be random in how you play if you're playing at the pro level, because like everything has a consequence. And it's like really interesting to watch a really good player, two really good players to go at it. You know, that's why you got like the really good players like Justin Wong and all these other ones. If you look on YouTube, there's amazing like counters that they've done. So it's amazing timing at a split second timing of like, oh, they did this. I'm going to now counter you because you did this, and and then pull off a 20 hit combo and then win the game. Off of one parry, and then you have parries and stuff. So then you get really good, really get into like the game mechanics that like
yeah.
It's crazy. It's like really interesting. I think there's a couple documentaries on it, but no one's done it really well in the way I've just described it to you guys. Because if you look at it that way, it turns into like no different than somebody who really into UFC and knows what's happening when they're on the ground rolling. When you're watching jujitsu, that knowing what they're doing as they're doing or before they're doing it, or or when they whiff, that something else is coming because they hit the wrong button or a bad input because they're so nervous because they got literally thousands of people watching them, and it's like you see the mind games with it too. So it's like it's one of the cool things about Twitch and all that in gaming in general with that subsection of gaming. It's really cool, So yeah, man, like Twitch is great for that.
My favorite game is Candy Crush.
Yeah, you would like that.
Yeah, he knows all the frame data on those candies.
And on some level, that could be addicting too if people watch that. I guess on some level, though, if you into it,
I'm not lying.
Carlos would see things that we wouldn't see because he played it all the time. And I don't know if there's a thing with Candy Crush where it could be competitive, but I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't something out there. The way those games are.
They actually do. They do a good job of letting you know where all your friends are and all this stuff. And there's little competitions within the actual game itself. But that's all goofy.
Is it more of like the slot machine thing? Yeah. Incentives to keep
it's not as remedial as slot machine. Slot machine, you just sit there, you watch the little things rotate.
No, I mean in terms of like the logic behind like what it takes to keep the player coming back to keep playing,
Yeah,
it's a give and take, right? They give you incentives, but then also like give you goals to get to make you want to keep going.
Right. And it works. And the little games that they have, they give you the extra games that they have gives you like they might have like a roulette wheel, or they have these little games that you play that if you do good, you get like superpowers in the actual game itself.
Oh, gotcha.
And that helps you pass levels. And then the more levels you pass, like every week, I think it's every Sunday, it resets. But the more levels you pass that week, they have all of your friends there. And if you've passed more levels than any of them, then you get more bonus superpower stuff.
Yeah.
So it's definitely addicting, Sylvester.
All the guys.
Yeah, just like he said, isn't Ryan Reynolds promoting a game similar to Candy Crush? Yeah, and that's, I mean, I don't even spend money on this thing. Like for me, I get way more satisfaction out of winning the levels and not spending any money, because I think I'm way more cheap than I am competitive, and I'm pretty competitive. But I'm hella cheap, so
I found out that I've played more. I'm starting to, on this phone. Like this is the Google Pixel 2.
Yeah.
Out of any of my other iPhones or anything, this phone, I found myself playing more games than normal on this thing on my commute. At times, I have a whole little gaming section now, and I've been impressed overall with the amount. Here it is, the bottom there, with the amount of games and the quality. There's a fighting game on here, and there's a couple other like, what do they call them, like arena games, like Battle Royale Arena. It's like basically the new like hot game design tactic that everyone in the industry is using from mobile to console. Call of Duty has a mode, and it's basically a mode. It's basically Hunger Games, basically. So all you guys have seen
pretty crazy.
It's basically Hunger Games. That's the mode, and the genre is called Battle Royale. Arena. You know, like MOBA was a genre, which is like, which is basically multiplayer online battle arena. This is more of like where you have the 100, like the PUBGs and like all that good stuff, and like the Fortnites and all that stuff, where you have 100 people. They start in a plane, they all jump out of the plane, you know, and they land on a level, but the levels are huge now, right? And you all are fighting to be number one. In just if you think about that from a design standpoint of where we've come, like that's ridiculous. And so I found like games I found that same notion on my phone where I'm playing that, where it's like, you know, 60 people, they all drop in, and on a phone top down at that level of like playing on a moving train, right? And then all of a sudden one of the days I had my headphones in and I was in team mode and didn't realize it, and people started talking to me. I was like, whoa, it's like two-way conversation, like just like we're talking now of like, yo guys, I'm over here. I'm like, well, how are they doing this on a phone? It's ridiculous. So like you got like 100 people on all phones, two-way conversation, like the net code and the coding. This has to be ridiculous. Like, we couldn't do this 5-10 years ago. We couldn't do this 3 or 4 years ago. Like concurrently. Like it's so like it's a gift and a curse, right? So now everybody named Mama has that mode. Like Call of Duty has that mode, and like you can really see it with Call of Duty, right? This whole like where they've come in gaming in general, because the Call of Duty maps, they have to be. It's usually on a big, huge map. Just think of Hunger Games, how big that map is in that movie. That's how it is in these arena games, right? It's a big map, and like now, if you've played Call of Duty each year, basically it's the Call of Duty levels. Think about it like this, guys. It's the levels that you've played before, all in one big level, right? So if you played a big, huge, like, you know, security compound level, imagine walking up on that level on this big, huge MOBA. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to think. It's like all the levels are just sections of this level. You know, like the airport is actually the airport, so you go to the airport. You know, the hotel level is actually a hotel, so you just walk up on the hotel level. So the way they've done it with Call of Duty is like they've put all their maps into this big, huge map, and then added a big, huge terrain in between all these maps. Right, and you have 100 people. And you can do squads, you can do solo, and you're driving around. Call of Duty has like helicopters and everything else. So you still have like the Battlefield, like big, huge map type deal. But if you think about what it really is, they've taken all their old maps and put them into one big map, and then had to do all this other net code on top of it. And it's like interesting in how far we've come in terms of like that being a thing. Because people like Carlos and other people have played like the Xbox and the Xbox 360 and all the old ones. That was like online is always hard to do. You know, especially if you're on a PC too, you gotta deal with people's multiple. Your PC might be crappy and your PC might be amazing, and Moneybags over here might have like top of the line. But to get everybody to work good and everybody's, you know, being the whole notion of like I logged into a spot, Jack logs into the spot, and then Carl's logs into the spot, but we all can see each other. From a development standpoint, when I've seen them try to do that on like the Wii, when I worked at High Voltage, and they had like doing a first-person shooter on the Wii, and that really wasn't possible back when they were doing that for the game they were working on. It's like we all could log in, but I can't see Jack, but Jack sees Carlos and me, you know, but Carlos only sees Jack, you know, like it's a weird thing for coders to code, to get everybody to see each other and for it to load and not be. So it's like, just all jokes aside in terms of all that, but just thinking how far that the notion of like gaming has come now, where you have these games that you can do like what we see in the movies. Like, all right, cool. We want to start off with 100 people. throw everybody in a plane, and we all jump out at the same time, and we're seeing the map, and the map is loading in real time, and like it's not a loading screen. It's like 1-to-1. It's the same thing when you see with like the big huge Kickstarter games like the Star Citizens. They're like, we want to do planet reentry and like leaving the planet's atmosphere, like all in one thing without a load screen. It's just getting your spaceship. You fly up. You keep flying. You break the atmosphere. You see the planet.
Is there any game out there right now that has like a procedural world build that it's not infinite, or maybe it is?
Well, they said they try to do that for that like No Man's Sky, and that kind of does that. There's a couple procedural things in there, procedural worlds being generated. Star Citizen comes to mind. That's the game by I can't remember the guy's name right now, but whatever. That's the Kickstarter game. It's the biggest Kickstarter game that's been out. It's been in development for 6 years. 6 years. They now have like 8 or 9 studios across the world, and like they did the whole model of when we remember years ago. Wow, it's funny to say on the show years ago when we were all talking about all the different Kickstarters that are out, but like they're of that model when people got smart. It was like, all right, this stretch goal is going to fund the website. It's going to allow us to just keep doing Kickstarter on our own on the website. So basically, they did a stretch goal where they built out the state-of-the-art website where they just keep it's just the residual Kickstarter like all the time, but they're transparent. So I can go on the website right now because I bought that game like a couple years ago and just said, okay, cool, if this ever comes to fruition, I have it. But like it's the same guy who did Wing Commander back in the day, right? It's his company.
That's a great game.
And he's making the ultimate space title. I mean, they have like 3 different SKUs, right? Star Citizen, Squadron 42, and then one other. Those are the 2 games, right? Star Citizen is like the MMO space title, like bunch of people are playing, immersing themselves, Ready Player One type of deal, right? It's like amazing. And the Squadron 42 is like their single player game. They got voice. You see the voice acting list in their game, right? I mean, they got Mark Hamill, they got all these people doing this game, but this game has taken 6 years to make, and it with no date in sight. It's almost like a weird cult. They've made a whole convention, because that's what you do now around your title. You make a convention, which has been widely successful for the last 3 or 4 years, called Citizen Con. They just had it last week or the week before last, where they come out and give the state of the game and all this other stuff. And then the funny thing about it is like it's like having like an Apple keynote, and then they showing you the new thing, but then they don't show you a date at the end. They just say, oh, cool, thanks for coming.
That's what we got.
This is what we got. I'm gonna look it up while you guys talk. You should hear how much money this game has made so far. Now, it looks amazing, but like we said, all this stuff we were talking about before about netcode and all the other crazy stuff, that's what they have to deal with. Like, they're doing procedural, like, planets, Jack. So, like, that the surface of the planet changes over time around the different colonies and stuff like that. So you travel to the moon or whatever, and then a year from now, the moon might be a little different, or it might not, And at the same time, they do that so they don't have to build every single moon, because you're supposed to be able to get in your ship that you've bought. I mean, you can buy insurance on ships. Ships in there, just to give you guys an idea, ships cost, and we could talk about I don't know, I guess it wouldn't be moral, but like economy and like how much it's like already just taking all these people's money, because people get cultish with stuff, just like Star Wars. People get cultish and like people are literally like just drinking the Kool-Aid on this game, and like it's gonna be great when it comes out, but like pouring money. Like Jack could buy a ship right now because ships have insurance and stuff like that. And if you play old school games like Eve and stuff like that, that's really cool in terms of like the role playing part of it. But they've really cashed it in terms of a money making thing. So you could buy a ship that costs $300 right now. That's not in game, that you can't play, but you'll get once they're done making it. right? And what did they do? They make some great design and game design and almost a little bit of manipulation on this part. They make trailers of the ships and stuff like that look like, all right, if you ever been to one of those, I'm into motorcycles, Carlos is too. Rode a motorcycle for years. If you ever seen like motorcycles or British car commercials or like that, like where they got the British guy talking about the car.
That's
all the
cool.
different ships, all the different ships are like high-end like Tesla or car commercials. When you think of design and you think of what it takes to be the best, like that's like how the ships are. And they're great. They're great videos. You're like, oh, I want that ship, you know?
Yeah.
And then you realize that ship's like $400, you know? And you're buying for the development of the ship. So remember, I told you they've taken the Kickstarter model and involved it into this residual money-making thing each month, right? Now the cool thing about Cloud Imperium Games is they're very transparent on like how much they make, where the development is right now, so you can go see how much they've making. So like when they have a Citizen Con, I think literally in a week's time of having like that convention, they make like over $1 million. Because obviously you have like incentives and all these things come out for the convention, and people buy like the exclusive ship for that. It's only going to be at this price for this week, and it's a ridiculous like model in terms of like the business standpoint. Like you can call it feature creep, but it's feature creep where you're getting paid. Like I can go work there because there's a couple different studios in the U.S. There's one down in Austin. So we talked about this for many years about, we know that there's from the Obama era, we know if you have a technology company in the South, you're getting a kickback, right? We know that. So they have a studio in Austin. They have a studio out in LA, obviously. And then they have a studio, a couple other places. They have a studio up in Canada. They have a studio over in Germany. 2 studios over in Germany, one in Germany and one somewhere else. But like, so you have these studios and they're like legit like 200-man studios a piece, and all those studios I've named, right? So just from the logistical standpoint on what it takes for these guys to do, like they're doing teleconferencing and stuff like that, so that like, you know, the LA studio that's working on this thing can talk to the Canada studio that's doing all the ships. They can talk to the Austin studio that's doing all the such and such. They can talk to the German studio that's doing all the single player voice acting, and the voice acting and all that stuff, guys, is basically just like you would see in Last of Us or Lord of the Rings or whatever. It's like they're all on the soundstage, right? It's the new style, right? They're on a soundstage. Cameras 1-to-1, and like all these famous actors are like in the whole motion capture suits and stuff like that, capturing their facial expressions as well as their body movement, and then the models and stuff are all being scanned. You know, it's like the legit like AAA / Hollywood, you know, 3D setup in terms of like,
cool.
You know, and it's just, but there's no
game.
There's no game in sight. I mean, right now there's a game. I should take that back. There's a game. It's like in Alpha 3 or whatever. You could play the game too and just keep playing it, but it's in Alpha. It's not. And like they have like, you know, the live build and the test build. So you do like any other like, you know, what is it called? What is it called? It's a type of game. They do it on Steam right now. Early access. It's just like that's the genre now. Early access games. So it's an early access game. Like, I mean, because you can buy it now, download and start playing it. Buy your ship, and there's ships that are like available, right, and play them right now. Sometimes people buy ships that are not out yet and they just wait. But yeah, so you can buy a ship, you could play it, you could play the game, you could totally play the game every day, and it's a gaming experience. But it's like you're like a beta tester. It's not done.
Right.
You know, you could play the dog fights, you can get in there and play, and everything's there to an extent, you know. So that's what gets people playing. I mean, go to Twitch and watch any kind of Star Citizen game. You can see it. And if you just watch some of the trailers for this thing, it's amazing. But you know, we talk about this gaming thing tonight, but like it's interesting. I've been meaning to tell you guys about this model for a while of like, it's kind of like a douchey way of doing it, but it's a really crazy model where they've just like basically funded themselves to have a site like Kickstarter, but have it be their own, and then set up these milestones, just to residually get money. So like each week they're bringing money in to the company as a whole. So even if the game flops, which it could, I guess, like they still have all these people, thousands and thousands of people that buy this game each week, and buy new ships, and like, I mean, because it's supposed to be like an MMO, it's supposed to be like a full service, right? So since it's full service, it's like everything, right? You need insurance for your ship. That's going to cost at a certain amount. You need this, and this, because technically, what this is going to be when it's done is like the MMO version or the WoW version of like a space, And right now, people get that same feeling with Eve. If you ever played Eve, but Eve's system is a very different system, but they've turned it into this amazing like thing that like people who play Eve have played it for years. There's like legit stories of people taking 10 years to work their way up through an organization, because that's what they call them in Eve, and take over the organization, have these epic space battles. But remember, the Eve game is kind of like playing a Civilization game, right? It's like the ships can be like really tiny on your screen, but like there's videos of like people playing where there's like hundreds and hundreds of ships, because two different factions that have been player built have finally had a battle, and and like it's the same way. It's the same thing where like Eve's stuff can cost so many credits, but in order for you to make that ship, it takes you like 2 years of your time of like logging in to like get to the point to get that version of a battleship, right? And this is a game that's been around for years. There's lore around it. There's like backstory. There's people that legit play this game all the time, and like it's all player driven, where like the developers just was like, we gave you a sandbox here, and like they've built something amazing, and it's like emergent gameplay based off of like a player base. That's really cool. So Star Citizen is basically doing the WoW or the 3D version of that, where it's not like you're a big RTS like Civilization type of game. It's like, oh, I have a ship. I can physically get in the ship. I can physically, get my ship get blown up and I'm floating in space, or like, I need to go do that like satellite repair. And like when I come up on the satellite, it's literally the size of like Empire State Building, like everything's 1-to-1. The scale is correct in Star Citizen, right? You have to do whatever it's called, to get across the galaxies and stuff like that. And you come up on the map, and it's some impressive tech they've done. Not to get too technical, but in terms of like flying up on a planet and then like landing, and it's all one take, right? And it's not being loaded, and you're just, and then you land on the surface of that planet. From gaming point of view, that's amazing that they've pulled that off, and they're in a bunch of lawsuits and stuff like that with the old engine that they were working with, and then they moved over to Amazon Lumberyard, which is,
oh yeah, I remember that,
which is basically the Crytek was the original people they were with, the Cry engine, but then remember Crytek sold that engine to Amazon, and then now Crytek's mad that Star Citizen like jumped ship and went to Amazon, so they're in this big legal battle. There's a really cool YouTuber that's a lawyer. I mean, everybody has YouTube now, and he's a legal lawyer for tech stuff. So he was breaking down
it seems like there's gonna be game lawyers.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was breaking down the legal documents for this. I watched him last week about between Star Citizen and Crytek. It was interesting, and he was reading all the legal documents. The older guy, I was like, "This is cool." Like everybody and their mama has a channel for something, but it was super interesting because you can learn about the legal side of things and how Crytek feels that like they have lost money and all this other stuff. Even though like let's be frank, like if I'm making this big epic game, I kind of need some Amazon servers behind me. So like, why not use the modified version of the Cry engine that's going to work with all the Amazon server backend? That's like the whole pool of using that Lumberyard engine is like it's powered by Amazon's like servers and all this other crazy stuff. So like it's a very interesting thing in terms of in general, and I geek out on all this stuff in general, but the amount of work that has gone into the last 6 or 7 years for this game, and how it's had an impact on social media, and then like Kickstarter and all this other good stuff, and like crowdfunding, and there's been genres that's turned into this based off of how these are in terms of like the what did I call it again? The early access games, which is basically like, I'll let you play my game that's half done because I know you really want to play it, you know, but you have to pay for that at a premium. You can get this release of the beta, but not the early alpha. If you want early alpha, which from a developer, early alpha means I got nothing in the game. How are they getting people to pay $30 for early alpha for all these different games on Steam, for people to be basically game testers? Like, whereas like you could log in and just fall through the floor. Like, oh, that's early alpha. You paid $40 to do this. like it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm gonna look that Star Citizen stuff up because I want to tell you like those numbers. It's astonishing how much money they bring in. Because I don't know. I think that's what they're doing. They could be so transparent. Like they show you down to how much they bring on their website and everything. It's all on their website for everyone to see. So they call themselves being transparent. But that whole like making the ships look like a car commercial and people just buying it up. There's some psychology in there that whoever thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost developing this secondary sub economy within games that's like emerging, where there's legitimate. I mean, that came out a while ago, you know, where people were making money off mods or you know, building their own in-game things and then selling it. But like, I feel like that was just the first step. It's gonna like push towards literally having a job in a game and getting paid. Like you can be hired as a bounty hunter or whatever, and then you know you have insurance on your ship, and it's like before you know it, like you're buying and paying and producing all of the exact same things you do in real life.
Yo, and that's the pool for Star Citizen. That's kind of a pool for me. Like the ship that stuff that I bought years ago that was just like cool. That's the notion of like there's like, since there's all these expensive ships, since there's all these like insurance on these ships and these different things you can do, and since they're supposed to have just like any other MMO, if you guys know what MMO is, any other like massive multiplayer online game, the community has to drive the economy. They have to drive the narrative in the game and all the good stuff. So what happens when you have a $300 ship? Well, some people just want to be space pirates. And they want to just take what you have because they're playing on people's like natural, like willing to be mean or trolling online. So like you have bounty hunters in Star Citizen that you're supposed to have. You have ways of like supposed to be capturing people and like bringing them in and turning them in and stuff like that, which sounds crazy because they always say that from a lore standpoint. But if they really have that, where like, yo, I captured you, I'm gonna throw you in back of my cargo bay and fly you to a different place. Can you imagine being a player that got caught? Like your gameplay right now is, well, I'm stuck in this dude's ship and I can't get out because he's gonna turn me in. You know, because I stole somebody's ship in the Gamma Quadrant. It sounds crazy role playing-ish thing to think of, but that's the type of like dream they're selling these people. You know, it's the Ready Player One thing. Like, it's fully immersed in this thing.
Yeah, it's like a duplicate reality that you can kind of live all these various.
You want to be a bounty hunter, you can do it. You want to be a merchant, you can do it. Yeah.
But you know, just because you're locked up in someone's trunk doesn't mean that you have no gameplay access. It's like then you now have to figure out how to escape that, or you gotta, you know, fight the guy or whatever. There's like all these. It's kind of nutty.
Yeah, it when you really think about it, you're like, man, you know, and then like the level of like, even the level of like technical things happening inside the ship, they kept telling, because since they've been so transparent, it's been like, we have to figure out, okay, if Charlie's flying the ship and Jack is stuck in his like holding bay, what does that look like from a technical level? All right, so Jack has to be able to see the ship, be able to see all the surrounding geometry of the holding bay, but it needs to be in the same instance as where Charlie's is. You guys are all moving forward in space, loading in real time. It's like, and I think the way they did it was like really cool ways of being instanced geometry in real time in terms of like the whole ship is modular in a way where like it's all being loaded in the same shard, if you will. And it's like, so each ship is like a level inside of itself, which sounds like some weird Inception stuff, right? So then you got all these ships that are like mini levels because they all have to be in the same place. So like if my crew member is in the back in the engine room, because these ships have like engine rooms, they have like, think of Starship Enterprise, right? They have all these different like bays in the ship besides the cockpit, which is the crazy part. They have sleeping quarters, they have all these things, and now all these ships are like basically moving levels. Because if I want to get up and walk back to my engine room, or if I'm in a dogfight and I'm now like my ship is just floating there, you could literally have people board each other's ships. Mm-hmm. So now like that ship becomes a level. Like it's just from a technical standpoint, I'm like, that sounds ridiculous. You need like 300 people, 300 programmers just to like figure out that gameplay of like, cool, I'm aboard your ship now. Now it becomes like Call of Duty, basically. Like, cause like there's like that's what happens when you give like your player a gun. It basically becomes a third person shooter like Call of Duty. So if Carlos decides to board my ship to free Jack, well now that ship is set up like a level, and now I need to get up from my cockpit, walk to the back, grab a gun, and now we're playing a first person shooter within this massive multiplayer game, right? That's the hard part. Even though people give Star Citizen crap for taking so long to make, that's the hard part now. Like how do you make that? It's like putting every game in one. It's almost like I don't think you can make that, guys. Like because now the mechanics have to be just as good as a Call of Duty game. Even though you were just flying this ship through space and having a dogfight, And then what does it take for Carlos to jump out of his ship, jettison toward my ship, and be able to board that all in the same level? Like, I can't even explain it because there's so many layers of like what I think it's happening on a dev level of like, how are they even getting that to load? Which is why they haven't probably really even shown that part. But that's what you're supposed to be able to do to be able to, free Jack, to get on the ship. Cool. Let's disable his ship, so we have our air battle. And now we just can and I mean, each ships have they're big enough for like vehicles and stuff like that. So now when like you're doing like the whole planetary thing, cool. I landed on the planet. Now I need that like planetary vehicle. I just drive that sucker outside my ship, and now I'm rolling around in my like moon rover or whatever, or like like mini air jet thing. It's crazy. It's crazy if you look at all the different like tech they've been building, and each of those things, it's like watching an ATV commercial now. You need this. And that costs a certain amount of money, or they have a whole section where it's just racing ships, right? Like for like F-Zero type of old school type of like things where they have a whole subsection of just like you have this ship to help you, just like it's like Forza or like Need for Speed or whatever, where like they're just all these ships are just made to be on these racing things. So they have all these different games within a game, if you will, which just sounds like feature creep, but sounds like it's almost too good to be true. Oh, where's that thing at?
But going back to pulling off all this stuff on a mobile device.
Yeah.
Technology. I don't know if it's the speed of the internet that's helping, or people are getting way more efficient with their code. But,
yeah, I don't know what it is, man. Yeah, it's like
before the show started, Jack and I were talking about a lot of the stuff that Adobe's been working on, and Adobe Max happened this week, and you know, you can have, for example, Lightroom. In Lightroom, this is Adobe's photography, specifically photography software. So they have a mobile app that you can run on your iPad, iPhone, and then they have the desktop version that all syncs together. And then they also have the same functionality if you log in on a browser. So all this stuff is happening, and it's accessing all the same files. So everything that I have on my iPad is on my phone, on my desktop, on the browser, just everywhere. And we were talking about just how cool technology is getting to let you do. I mean, granted, it's already cool that we're in 3 different locations and we're putting on a show. But being able to draw in Photoshop, share my screen, talk to Charlie about video games. And then we have Joey, who I believe is in like England, and Sylvester is somewhere around here somewhere. It's getting wacky. Is getting crazy. And there's a lot of other things that Adobe announced this week that it's just getting so crazy, so fast all the time.
Yeah, I heard they had a good week. They've had a lot of surprising announcements, right? I was just waiting for the show because I knew you're gonna have all the full listing of all the different Adobe Max stuff, but it seems like they had a really good reception this year to me, more than I've seen in the last 2 years for Adobe Max. I don't know what they did that's big this year. Maybe it's the update of all the suites and stuff, but it seems like this year I'm hearing a lot more of like good things.
I think
Adobe Max.
Now that you say that, I think for the past few years, Connecticut. All right, cool. Thanks, Sylvester. If you follow Adobe on YouTube and even go out to different Adobe events, for the past handful of years, it was kind of like they were regurgitating the same stuff. So, oh, look, we have this new functionality over here that lets you do this, that, and that. And I don't know if they're maybe saving that stuff now. They're saving that stuff for Max. Yeah, just because even last year, the cool part was for me was character animator. That's new.
Right.
They just got out of beta last year, and come to find out, or come to like, think about this. Last year at this time, I was evicted from it. Not evicted, but I was asked to leave my house because this whole place was on fire.
oh yeah, wow, yeah.
Yeah. That just clicked right now. But anyway, yeah, and I don't know what they were doing previously, but it seems like this year there was a lot of things that they announced that I had never heard of.
Yeah.
It's really cool stuff. Like, they're coming out with the full version of Photoshop for iPad. In 2019.
How is that? Do you think that's gonna be good on the iPad based on the market of what's out there now?
They have to, because of everyone else. Because everyone else is creeping up on that market, and if they don't hurry up and do it, they're going to lose that momentum for what you call it, for mobile devices, right?
Mhm.
And so it's almost like they have to, because kind of like you said, almost everyone else who does image manipulation and drawing and stuff like that, they already have
Yeah.
their foot in the door.
And I guess at this point, if they come out now with that, then people can be like, well, cool, I can just do the full Photoshop. I mean, Procreate's cool, but I get the full
Right.
access. Some people have that notion in their head, like, I know Photoshop, I don't know Procreate. Okay, cool, I'll just buy that. Whereas I think if they, like you said, if they wait, they'll lose that.
One of the things that's a really big seller for me is you can draw something in Procreate, and you can go pretty far with it. But if you're really going to put the hammer down, you bring it into Photoshop and you finish it off in Photoshop.
Mm.
And you're doing text, and you're doing, like drop shadows and all that stuff. And Procreate, you have to kind of like fake drop shadows and all that stuff. But
I got you. Yeah. Okay.
But again, the cool thing that Adobe is doing is all of the syncing stuff. This Creative Cloud thing is bananas. So imagine drawing something in, and you can kind of do this already with a couple of the apps. You can draw in that app and then just say, open this on a desktop.
Oh, that's
And it'll automatically launch Photoshop for you. Or
yeah, because they're introducing what's the voice assistant called?
Sensei.
Yeah, so that's like adding to it too.
Oh, they're putting AI. There it is.
Yeah.
Skynet support.
Yeah. Sensei is their AI, and it's already doing a lot of really interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to be expanding that. But just imagine your workflow gets you away from being in front of the computer all day. And there's more and more people are creating away from the desk, and the way that Adobe is doing it, I don't know if you guys remember. Well, I'm sure you guys do, but the listeners, I don't know if you remember the Adobe Ink and Slide, or Ink and Slide. It was a pencil and a little ruler type of thing that you could slide around on your iPad and draw, and then it would save the stuff, and then you can download it to your Procreate is going to release a new one soon, 4.2. It's on their page, second last post. Yeah, and a new Procreate is coming out.
Nice.
But so anyway, the hardware that they came out with was really cool, and it made things super efficient because it would save things to the Creative Cloud, and then you'd be able to go back and open it up in Photoshop, Illustrator, whatever. Now, imagine all that stuff happening automatically.
Yeah.
All this stuff is already saved on your iPad. That's going to get uploaded to your iCloud. And even now, one of the announcements that they did earlier in the week was Adobe Premiere Rush, and it's basically a video editing software for the iPad.
Okay, so it's a truncated one for the iPad, or just like
it's not definitely not as
for
robust, but you can finish videos.
Okay.
And then the cool thing is with that is it'll save to your Creative Cloud, and when you open up Premiere on your desktop, they have a button that says open up Premiere Rush file, and it'll go to your Creative Cloud and open it up, and then you can finish it off and do more expert stuff using Premiere. Yeah, and they just what they're doing for a while, I'm like, man, these guys are charging me way too much. And I don't know, like I seriously needed to do like a cost effectiveness analysis. And basically I needed to take a good hard look at, is there a better way to do all this stuff? Because, $50 a month, that's pretty expensive. But then you have stuff like I legit used, I don't know how many. I use Photoshop, Illustrator, Photoshop almost every day, Illustrator every 3 days, Premiere quite a bit, Audition for the podcast, and all this other stuff. And now that they're going mobile and everything is going mobile, now it's starting to make sense. Now it's, especially with, I'm getting back to photography and stuff like that. So being able to go out, take pictures all crazy, loading that up on my iPad and doing the same edits on my iPad that I can on my computer, that's huge.
Right.
Having all that stuff backed up already, it's amazing.
That's a pretty good speed too. It's not like you're waiting for it either.
Right.
Sometimes it's instant, right?
Right. Yeah. Oops. So yeah, I mean, they're doing a pretty good job, and they've tricked me into staying with them for a while.
Did they talk about the font program? That's the only thing I want from 2 years ago.
They got this. Oh no, that was a sneak peek, but I don't know if that is anywhere. I don't remember seeing that anywhere in any of it. So no, not yet. But they are doing. Yeah, I agree, Sylvester. He says great time for artists. Yeah. They do have this thing that was a sneak peek, and we can run down the list of sneak peeks here in a little bit, but they have this thing where if you show this app, say the example that this guy had was some graffiti on the wall, and he showed the app the graffiti on the wall, and the app took the font or the handwriting of the graffiti, turned it into a font, and then you're able to change type.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They're doing some really wild stuff.
What does that integrate in? Is that its own program or what?
They have this mobile app. What's it called?
Since they did with the font thing, why did they put it on the mobile app? Just give me let me know there's a standalone PC or Mac version that you can get, because they did that with the other one I was talking about, and it showed it all running on an iPad. And it was amazing, but like I don't want it on an iPad.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you're walking around and you're taking pictures of,
I can see that one.
Or you have your phone or your iPad or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
oh yeah, I just remembered. I probably don't have it on my phone because my phone crashed and deleted a bunch of my apps. So I need to go look for it. But in the meantime, yeah, they had a lot of really cool stuff that they announced.
How was the animate stuff?
They had, let me see. It wasn't, I don't remember seeing a lot of animation stuff.
Because I was just trying to think of like in one word, because I had you guys sent that link this week about the Adobe Animate, and I was telling them that like a lot of people use that tool, and my most guy was like laughed it off in front of people. I was like, what? They're just gonna build a tool and no one use it? Like they use it. And he was like, what do they use that in? And they kind of like, ooh, you want me to prove you wrong? Okay, cool, I'll prove you wrong. And then you guys sent me that link. I was like, yes, because I had that link in my back pocket. I was like, I see a link. Let me go sit at my desk. Take me 2 seconds. He's like, okay, you do that. Then sent it to them, and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I see. Next time you think you know what you're talking about.
Right.
Because I was like, I know they did that stuff before for like museums and other places, but I was trying to think of like, and that's why I was going to ask the chat today. Ask you guys like, what in one word Adobe Animate is? Not Adobe. No, I guess no. I'm sorry, not Animate. Adobe Character Animator.
Yeah.
Is that what is it called? Because Adobe Animate, I know what that is. That's just basically your 2D animation software, especially Flash. But 3.0 or what you want to call
but now they have most of the character animator stuff ported into Animate.
Oh, really?
They do have some, but not a lot.
So what is character animator is like?
So character animator is okay. So Adobe Animate is an animation tool,
right?
And Adobe, character animator is like acting. It's motion.
It's kind of like mocap for 2D.
Yeah.
So it's like a puppeteering type of tool, right? That's what I try to tell people at work.
You set up your puppet, and then it uses your web camera to do all of the animating. So you don't have to go in there and keyframe or frame by frame. You don't have to do any of that stuff.
Now, the notion for this is because from an experiential point of view, I was trying to tell those guys that they do this stuff already over in like China and Japan, and we've had talks with like random Chinese company that's trying to mimic whatever Disney's doing, or like Disney's doing it down in like Florida on a 3D level. But I love that link you sent about Nickelodeon doing it with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and adding the VR element to it, because that's a great way of explaining how you can use your program. And I feel like they're going to get a lot of more people using Animate just off of that case study that they finally did, because this is the thing I feel like they've had problems like describing. It's like when I say, how do you describe that tool, right? And that's the best video to give somebody to show, because it worked in my instance where I sat there with 3 or 4 other people like listening to me talk at work and not having a great way of explaining. I knew it did the puppet thing, I knew it did the 2D thing, but trying to sum it up in like the elevator pitch style of like, what is that program?
Yeah,
I think them like doing this is good.
You can shameless plug. You can go to coconutjustice.com and see it in action. Or even on my Instagram, like all of my life hacks, that's character animator. And all of my
karaoke stuff,
all of my cartoon karaoke stuff, all of that is character animator.
Yeah. Now, have you tried this yet too, Carlos? Because like, since you already have a platform where you're using it, like the one thing I saw from that video was the custom controller, like almost like the soundboard, like what Jack's using, or I think you might have one, because you can buy like there's a little soundboard controller you can buy where you can map buttons to those things. I did think that was the most interesting part of that video, where they're mapping all the different interactions to different buttons so that the puppeteer and the voice actor had to work in tandem to like
look at
oh yeah, that thing. Yeah. I knew you had one. Yeah. So like he had a tool basically like that hooked up to character animator, where he can just like trigger, so you can do the live like 1-to-1. You probably could do it on the show with your other character.
I was going to oops, I shouldn't have done that. And this little this is called a stream deck, and it's pretty neat. Like you can set those buttons. You can't see.
No, we can see the buttons though. That's perfect.
Let's see. But like, okay, there we go. So I have controls for my right hand, my left hand. So if I'm doing this live, I can change what his hands are doing. Right. So I have an open hand, a closed hand, a pointer. You guys can't really see that. Sorry, guys.
But we get the gist though, because the buttons are cool to see.
Yeah. Anyway, and like I have head turns and stuff like that. Oh, there. You can see it.
Oh, yeah.
You can see your different hands. You see the hand positions.
Are you recording the takes? Are you scripted in your takes at this point? But you could use those for live if you wanted to. But like now, what do? You know, like are you recording your like dialogue first, and then you're using those hand motions to like add on top, or
it depends. And I should probably do a tutorial or something like that for it because it does get to be somewhat tedious. But oh, by the way, it's called Adobe Capture. That's the app that lets you can create patterns, you can design type fonts and stuff like that. Anyway, you can create brushes, blah blah blah. So yeah, Adobe Capture.
yeah.
So let's see. You can do it all kind of at the same time, but you have to get really used to it.
Mm.
But the way I do it is I have a script and then I act out the movements that I want the puppet to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the head movements and the eye blinks and the talking. And sometimes I'll even do at least one of the arms while I'm doing it. But my first go around is the eye blinks, the head moves, and the lip syncing, right? And then I go back and then I do one arm. And if I can, you can click and drag the arm and it'll animate the arm. And as I'm moving the arm, I'll click the different hands and the hand moves. And then I'll go back and I'll do the same thing to the other arm.
So it's remembering what you recorded the last round for the face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what? And then if there's part of the take that you don't like, you can go back and like record over it. But then they have like these smoothing, the smoothing functionality that will let you, if it's too hard of a cut from one animation to the one that's recorded on top of it, you can smooth it out, and it makes it, and it gives you a little bit of flexibility when it comes to blending the different motions. I've used it so much that there's certain things that drive me crazy a little bit. So sometimes you're trying to move an arm, and I'm assuming this is how it works because I took a look at it like a developer would. I'm like, okay, so they're probably whatever the time frame is, like every so often, they're checking the position of this arm, and then they're saving the position of that arm as probably like an XML element or JSON or whatever they're using to record that. And then the playback then goes back and reads through that information and says, okay, at this particular moment, this arm should be at X this and Y that. And then the next one, it should be X this and Y that. And then it'll just move it around like that. That's what I'm assuming.
Okay.
But if I'm using my hand, for example, as the part that's moving, as the bone that's moving, and the elbow doesn't fully understand where it's supposed to be, a lot of times your arm will flip over and be all kinds of goofy. And there's no real easy way to fix that. So then you almost have to like record everything, or actually set up a whole new position. So yeah, it's super helpful. It's really cool for really fast stuff. But as an animator, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is what I look like in public. Okay, cool. So, but there's like people doing full on shows, like on Comedy Central, they have They have
my cartoon president.
Cartoon President.
That's crazy.
Done in Character Animator, and there's a couple other ones too.
Yeah.
But it's a good time. It's a lot of fun. And when I first started learning about that, see, I have this really weird brain. Whenever I see something that's pretty neat, my brain figures out how to use it in a certain situation.
Yeah.
And I saw Character Animator. I was like, oh, man, I can bust out these cartoon karaoke's real super fast. And then that turned into doing the life hacks, and that was fine, and that was a good time. And I even did some proof of concepts for a couple clients that they wanted me to do some 2D animation, but they didn't have any money. And so I was like, well, I don't want to really fully turn my back on this because it could turn into something. But at the same time, I'm not trying to waste a lot of money doing this stuff. And so I took some of their stuff and used Character Animator to create it, and they loved it. Like, and that's the, like, I was thinking this is fine, but it's probably kind of terrible, and they're probably going to say some stuff, but they didn't. They loved it. And so I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And then, the cartoon karaoke stuff turned into a project that made real money and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's fine for what it is. If you have a time crunch, if you're going live, if there's a budgetary constraint, if you don't really want to spend all that much time animating in Flash and Animate, sorry, it's a viable solution for that. And it's a little tedious at first to get everything set up, and sometimes the puppets the software doesn't, you might set up the puppet wrong, or sometimes there might be like an invisible pixel that you accidentally dragged your pencil, and that little pixel up on the top corner ruins the entire rigging. So when you go to move the arm, the face moves. It's goofy stuff like that you really have to be careful with. But it's pretty neat. I should do an entire sketch zone.
Yeah.
As cartoon.
Yeah. Totally.
I should do that. That would be badass. But yeah, there was other stuff like what did we talked about Premiere. There's a lot of improvements in Premiere. A lot of color grading, which is what moves your, let's say, before I change the subject, color grading means that you're affecting the color. So it's basically, if you're taking a picture and you bring it into Lightroom, what you want to do is you want to adjust the colors, and you want to make that photo look a little more interesting. Bringing out the colors and working with the shadows and stuff like that. So editing that picture and the colors of that picture and the exposure of that picture, the same thing in video, it's called color grading. And that's what moves your videos from, oh, that was pretty cool, to like actual film level. And there's no difference between videos that we all shoot with our iPhone and a lot of the really high level videos that you see on YouTube or wherever else. They're doing the same thing. They're just adding that extra step of color grading that really brings out the quality.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of really cool new functionality in Premiere that's going to make all this color grading stuff a little easier. Therefore, therefore making the quality of your work that much better.
So they updated the color correction stuff for Premiere.
Yeah.
Nice, because DaVinci Resolve's been kicking its butt
Yeah.
for a while, so that's cool.
There's a bunch of stuff that they did with Photoshop too. But it was like really goofy things like now you don't have to do when on a Mac it's Command Option Z to undo.
Mhm.
Now it's like normal humans. It's
So they finally got rid of the like history thing that just jumps back and forth.
yeah. So now
stupid.
Command Z actually takes you through the different levels of undo. Oh, there's this new gradient that they're working on in Illustrator. I think it's in there now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, let me see.
Like
This was bananas.
like
So you still had your goofy. You still have your goofy Illustrator.
yeah.
And I don't know what it is about an Illustrator. I hate working with the color palette in Illustrator. It just doesn't make sense to my brain. But I want to see if this new gradient thing is in here because it is pretty amazing.
Gradient tool, just how you make gradients in it, or did they come up with some new way of
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to share my
screen time?
because this thing is crazy. Okay, so I'm going to grab a shape and I'm going to give it a gradient. See what I mean? Okay, this is they have a lot of tutorials and stuff, and it's starting to drive me crazy. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to create this new gradient. It's called the freeform gradient, right? So now here is all these colors. I can click on this guy and change the color. And then I can click here.
Make a new one, yeah.
And make a different color. And
then that's cool.
And then click here.
Yeah.
And make that a different color.
Can you move those around?
Can I move those around? You mean like this?
That's cool. So if you're doing those crazy product vector illustrations, you can get your like gradient just right to mimic.
So now I wonder if I click on that guy, and I think.
So did they retire the gradient mesh? Because that's kind of like.
Yeah. I don't know if gradient mesh is still here. No, it's still here. It's
right just hide the mesh, Jack.
It's a kind of what they did, right? It started with the mesh, and now you can just put freeform points.
Yeah. The mesh is still there, but let's go back to this guy, right? Because now I can actually click on this guy, and then I can go to lines. And do like this.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So now I can take this and I believe I can come over here. Yeah, so now I can adjust these lines and I can also click on there and hit delete and it's gone. So now you can mess around with these gradients according to this line. And you can add points to that line too. Yeah, so to me,
it's very handy. I just don't know where I would use it, but I can see for illustrating.
Pretty much
see where you can use it.
Pretty much anywhere you need gradients, right? And they showed a really good example. I just have horrible colors picked. So if I wanted to like
Yeah, I mean, if it was like the contours of a face or something, you could get the subtleties changing in there with the contours. You could use the liner itself as a guide
Yeah.
to help drive.
Like if you're doing
That's real nice. They
kind
took
of
it out
like
of
a
the tab there and put it live. Yeah. Because that's really cool. I always hated using the gradient inside of me, like, adjusting sliders and stuff like that. But this is kind of nice that you can do it live. Even more control than the gradient mesh one. The adding a curve is weird. It's cool and weird to me.
so like if you're doing say I'm gonna do this. This is so if you're doing like an orb or anything like that, you'll be able to really affect the one side, right? And then I can take this guy, move this up, move it. Stop it. I'm gonna go to points and I'm gonna move this guy up here. So maybe it has a little bit of a shine to it.
That reminds me of the old school way you can do buttons in Flash.
Right.
You do the pressing, the other circle on top
So
of it.
the new gradient is unbelievable. I thought that, and I don't know if you guys remember, but last year there was this app that was shown on the sneak peeks that did something similar to this, but it was for the drawing app where you can do like this, and actually, come to think about this, where this would be where this would be super useful, but not even in Illustrator. Let's say you have a color palette that you want to paint with, and you can take this here and save it out and bring it into Photoshop.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
There we go. Bring it into Photoshop, and now I have my color palette. So if I have my brush, now I can just come in here.
Right, and you've got all the in-betweens of that palette, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And that's just me playing around for 2 seconds. But the thing that they were showing is in the drawing app, you're able to paint with this color palette and you can add points to it. So if I wanted that to be, I don't know, like a green color. And then they were able to come in here and select, just like we did in Photoshop, you select that color from in there, and then you paint with it. But then let's say maybe that green isn't quite what we're looking for. Maybe they wanted it to be a purple color. You change that purple, and then that propagated throughout the entire drawing. So whatever color was affected by that green would now be affected by that purple, or be affected with that purple.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So yeah, so it's very similar to, but even this, like if you take this and you start drawing stuff on top of that, all of a sudden if you're working with a logo, maybe this is like a Florida and California had a baby logo. Those gradients come in handy for stuff like that. So yeah, so Illustrator had a couple really cool things happening to it.
And didn't they show some other drawing tool with our guy? What's the guy's name with the big brush, the brush stuff?
Yeah, Kyle Webster.
There's a whole thing around him, right?
Yeah, there's this app. It's called Project.
Gemini?
Huh?
It's a Gemini.
Yeah. So imagine being able to draw on an app with the same sensation that you get when you're drawing in, say, Corel Painter. So if you're painting with oils, the oil is still wet, and then you can select a different color, and it performs the same way as in real life.
boy, did it take a long time to catch up with that. I feel like this is
Right.
like 20 years in the making. They
Yeah.
could have got Painter out of here a long time ago.
Yeah.
They just let that company live. I don't know when they could have just. That's cool. They're finally doing that. They're finally
Yeah.
mixing stuff.
Yeah. So then I'm trying to think if there was any really cool. There was something in Photoshop that I can't quite remember.
Was there something with crazy custom brushes or something?
I don't think so. Anyway, what is this? Oh, yeah, this is something. All right, let's see. I can create a frame and say, let me see, where's my library? See if I don't have something real fast that I can libraries. Dang, I got a bunch of other people's stuff here. Here, I can do this. This is a character animator puppet. Blah 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 blah. Okay, come on. So if you see what I did, if I'm designing something and I don't really know. Oh, yeah, good point, huh? Hold on. Okay. So if I'm designing something and I'm not okay, so there's this guy here, right? So he's really working hard.
Right.
I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to come to this thing here. It's called the frame tool. I'm going to click on that, move the brushes. And maybe I want this guy to have a poster on the wall. So I do this frame tool. Now, usually what you do is you bring in another picture. Let's see, Arnold. You bring in another picture and then you have to like mask it and you have to do all kinds of stuff to it, right? But what if I just grab this picture and I drop it in here and look at how it automatically masks it off for me?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd use that for so much more than even drawing. Like, yeah, that's like.
I should leave this in here just so people will be like, "What the hell were you thinking?" And I'm like, "You have to watch the show." It might work better if it was vertical.
So what's that layer look? So it's got a mask there already. You can paint on top of it, right? Like,
well, it's on its own layer. So, and I believe that we can adjust it. It's a super easy way. It's kind of like and it's somewhat aware of. Oh, here's an even better picture. Hold up. Because time doesn't care who you are. So I'm going to grab this picture and I'm just going to drop it in here.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't do anything. Okay, enough. All right, let's try that again. Okay, I'm going to grab this photo. And they have the same functionality. Okay, you're just being a jerk right now. Oh, it's probably because the picture is super small, but they use this. They use this in what's the InDesign? They used it in InDesign, and it would take the picture and find out where the main part of that picture is. So, like this Arnold Schwarzenegger picture, there's a bunch of background to it, right?
Right.
and it's kind of like content aware, and it would recognize, and I don't know why I did it and didn't do it in Photoshop. Maybe there's something I'm not doing right, but it would understand that Arnold is the main part of this picture.
Right.
And so it would try to fill that box with Arnold, not necessarily all this extra stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the old way of doing it, you drop this picture in, you know, and then you have to like size it a certain way. And then I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm going to create a mask now. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to mess around with this. And then I'm going to fill that in. And then it's not quite right. So now I have to flip the mask. Okay, cool. And then I'm going to move that over, right? So they're trying to speed up a lot of the
Workflow stuff. Yeah.
tasks that people are doing. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm sure there's a list of stuff out there. I just didn't write anything down. So yeah, there's that. But some of the really cool stuff, my favorite parts of some of this stuff was, I'm looking for my notes. Let's see. So some of the sneak peeks that they had was this thing called Brush Bounty. This is what I think this is what you were talking about, Charlie, when you were asking about the brushes. So Brush Bounty in Photoshop, if you draw with a brush, it's there. It's still. You can't really do much about it. It's there. Brush Bounty is a brush that you can paint, and it's an animated brush.
Okay.
So you can paint rain, and rain starts falling. You can paint, I forgot what else they had. They had a glow. They had something that has to do with the night sky, a bunch of other stuff. But basically, animated brushes are probably going to be coming to Photoshop pretty soon. Oh, you know, one of the things that's really cool that came out for Premiere?
What?
Have you ever played with content aware in content aware fill in Photoshop?
Mm-hmm. They're doing
Imagine that, but video.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You do some, yeah.
So yeah, I just grabbed this image. And if I wanted to, I can make this a selection. Okay. And then I'm going to come up here and do edit content aware fill. Yep, that's what I want you to take out, and that's what you're going to end up seeing.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to click OK. Boom. Dude is gone. Dude is gone.
That's pretty good.
Look at, he's there. He's gone.
He said, dude is gone.
Copperville
gone.
So imagine being able to do that in video.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
So the thing that they did with the video, they had a horse running across this this desert, right? And so they took the horse completely out. And then you could still see the dust puffs of when the horse's hooves were hitting the sand. Then they ended up taking that out. That's absolutely crazy. And what's crazy is last year when I was at Max, that was something that was in the sneak peeks. So it's really cool to see some of the sneak peeks that they have. And this is just some technology that we've been working on. We don't know how it's going to fit. And all of a sudden now, when I updated Premiere, it has content aware fill on video, which
That's
is
awesome.
crazy. Yeah. So let's see. We have Smooth Operator, which is that content aware fill on video. Fantastic Folds is pretty crazy for package designers. So basically, in Illustrator, eventually what's going to happen is, you know how when you're trying to design a box, or you're trying to, whether you're designing for a cereal or anything like that, right? You have a certain container that you need to design for. This is going to basically UV unwrap that in Illustrator, so you can then design and drop it in there, and then you'll be able to see what the design looks like before you print it out. So you don't have to print and then adjust and then print and then adjust, right? So that's going to be huge for package designers.
That's cool.
Fantastic Folds. That was that. So Project Waltz was, you can use your phone to control the camera in a 3D scene. So, you know, now, like if you have in a VR setup, or in or even in, say, like no, VR is fine.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like in a Max thing, but Max or Maya would end up spitting it out to the VR thing. But so you have your little controllers in a VR environment,
Right.
and you can click and move things around and stuff like that. Well, now you're going to be able to use your phone and find your model,
Okay.
and then just walk around with your phone, and your phone is what's going to create all the camera moves.
Oh, I get you saying. Okay.
Yeah, so your phone is going to record all the moves that you're doing. And in the example, he had the spaceship in VR, and he was using his phone. He got in the cockpit, got out of the cockpit, walked around, and he created all these camera moves, and basically created a car commercial for a spaceship, which is kind of blends in with what you were saying about that game that was gonna charge you $300 for a spaceship.
Yeah, currently are.
Hashtag not today.
No. Just so you know, just from a side note to that, because I just wanted to, I took the liberty of like looking that up, just to put a cap in on that. So all the funds that were raised for that game I told you about was, so far they've raised $196,332,046 for that game in 6 years.
Damn. Who makes more, them or that VR company in Florida, Magic Leap?
As of, I don't remember. I don't know if Jack remembers. I don't remember what they got bought for. Technically, they haven't really produced anything. That's another one too. They have a convention now. They had a Magic Leap convention a couple weeks ago, where it was a big hype show. Like, you don't have really anything tangible to show. They have the headsets, but no actual people using the product yet. They had a convention for it already, and everybody was like drinking the Kool-Aid. The site goes by, and I put the site link in our notes so they can so people can like go through. You can go through by day, by hour. The site's really well made, I guess, if you want to say it. And by month, how much they've made over the course of the month as they hit their crowdfunding goals, and how much they've accomplished, and with that number that they've accomplished, they show what all that paid for. But yeah, 196 million, and there's over 2 million.
That's crazy.
Let's see. There's over 2,108,288 people that have kick funded this game, or that has contributed to that for the funding stats.
That's bananas. Imagine having that good of an idea.
Yeah, crazy.
I'm gonna run down this list of sneak peeks real fast because the rest of them, some of them were cool, some of them were kind of corny. This one was pretty cool. It's called Fontforia. Oh, you know what? We should get Mind One. I was gonna reach out to you, Mind One, to see if you wanted to come on, and then just life happens. Mind One was there. I believe he was there. So anyway, Fontforia. You can do text effects. So in Illustrator, when you have a font and you have to like break it down into shapes and then like create other shapes on top of it to punch it out. You know what I'm talking about? Like, let's say you wanted to say you have the word Charlie spelled out in Illustrator. You wanted to look like Swiss cheese. So you put a bunch of dots on it and then you use the shape builder to like punch holes in it.
Okay, I got you. Okay, yeah.
But now your shape is broken. Now your words, your letters are broken down into shapes and you can't mess with it anymore. With Fontforia, it'll take that font, those shapes, I should say, it'll take those shapes and turn it into a font. So next time you type, you'd be able to, your font now has those holes punched out of it.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Fast Mask automatically adds masks to your video. You just hit go and it happens. Which was pretty neat because they had a video of this guy like dancing down the sidewalk, and then he took the guy doing the presentation wrote Brooklyn on the video, and then he did the fast mask, and the guy dancing then ended up on top of the font, on top of the word Brooklyn. Super fast too. He like clicked like 2 or 3 times.
Nice.
Fast Mask was pretty dope. Let's see, Model Morph. But this is one that I was like, that's kind of corny. You bring in a model, and it, instead of having it like complex vectors and lines and geometry, it'll simplify it so you can just like click a section and you'd then be able to manipulate the model. I guess it's fine. Moving stills was pretty cool. If you're into social media, videos usually take precedence over photos.
Okay.
So this thing will actually, you bring in a photo and it would let you determine the movement, and then it would figure out the parallaxing for you.
Gotcha.
So that was moving stills. Kazoo was kind of fine. You talk into it and it would turn your voice into a violin or a cello or stuff like that. And Good Bones, I wasn't too impressed with Good Bones, just because if you're into 2D animation, you just do 2D animation bone rigs, and it would then, there's other stuff out there that does it just as good, if not better. So they were creating bone systems for Illustrator files. So yeah, that was basically it. There was a few things in there that I'm excited to see. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah, but that was Adobe Max. I wish I could have gone. I have a friend of mine I'm actually doing a project for. He works at Adobe. He invited me to the Max Bash, but I couldn't
go.
I probably could have figured it out, but I couldn't I couldn't. It didn't make sense to spend the money to go down there just for a party.
Oh, gotcha.
Otherwise, I would have. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, I think Jack had to dip. But if you're still there, Jack, we can get into artist inspiration.
You're the inspiration. You bring feeling to my life. You're the inspiration.
Johnny on the spot, that guy. I wasn't even expecting that. That's why I'm not even ready. This week, I want to hurry up and show you guys Ida Cabin.
Ooh, it's cool.
Yeah, she's got a really neat style. It's very expressive, very 2D, yet not. It's got a lot of life to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to Ida, EDA, Cabin, KABAN studio.com. You'll see what I'm talking about. But oh, there we go. I was looking for these. So yeah, she's an incredibly talented illustrator, very kids book-ish.
Yeah.
Probably using like dry media brushes in Photoshop.
I like her designs. They remind me of Calvin
Yeah.
Harvish.
Yeah, she's incredible. Like this is one that I enjoyed. What's up, that girl? No legs. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, this page is totally different.
Right.
Or something. This one just seems, yeah, it's a totally different style.
This dude. So yeah. She's a, you know how I go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when it comes to like drawing and having texture and stuff like that. Like this is legit it for me. Like
Cause it's like, yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I do.
And I mean, if you look at what Shiloh did for the fun prompt this week, and even this one there, but like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's there. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, the Superman thing is pretty dope. So yeah, just you know, the right brush, the right tool helps you like sell your artwork so good.
Mhm.
And this chick is doing like a belly flop or something. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love this. And now that this is my brain, right? I see this and I'm like, I really have to play with this and try to see how she's working this.
Work it.
And then I'm like, well, I have this ripped octopus that's begging to be, dry media brushed.
Begging to be brushed.
So yeah, even something like this with the limited color palette is just she just knows what the hell she's doing.
Mm-hmm. You gotta work that page.
And I believe she's on Instagram.
She's on the gram. Oh, there she is.
So, yeah, she is. Let me make sure that I'm following her because she deserves it. Yep, I am. Oh, I got 3 new followers. Yeah, son. So check her out. The link is going to be in the show notes, obviously. But Ida, EDA, Cabin or Caban, I don't know, depending on where she's from. 212 area code. It doesn't say where she is, but anyway, Ida, EDAKABAN. Do that.
Following.
Follow.
She is amazing,
Amazing.
amazing. Like, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
I promise I'll get off this pretty soon, but but I mean, even like I was gonna show this to Jack and say, should we try to do something like this for our process projects?
Yeah.
Because it would be a fun way to pull that off.
It'd be fun to animate that way.
Yeah.
They'll
Could
be
you imagine?
animate.
And you know what's cool? Like if I took her
What's cool?
Photoshop file from this, you can take this. If this is a Photoshop file, I can take this and break it down and bring this into Character Animator and animate her.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's that easy.
Nice.
You'd have to do the different mouth positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly, Sylvester. The dramatic poses, like, you know, when
I would love it to do that, even just in Adobe Animate in general, just frame by frame with that style or whatever.
yeah,
Just as a also cartoon.
yeah. Anyway, check her out. EdaCabenStudio.com.
All right. I'm ready.
Charlie's
And I
inspiration is Jack Kasperzak.
Yo, I got something for Jack this week because I like that guy. Jack, black and white. Well, just for this first section. This
Set up for Inktober.
person's name is I forgot. Oh, Anastasia Bubnova. Ooh, it's a name for you. But yeah, let me go back. Share. Look at this. Check this out. Look at these Inktober frames that she's doing. Look at this. There you go. I just thought of
That's
Jack.
really nice.
I just thought of Jack with the two-tones. Old school. Love it. It's really cool. This page, there was like, you know, in ArtStation, there was like a the thumbnail was this girl right here, and I was like, boom, found my inspiration.
Yep.
I was like, found my inspiration.
Das
Like,
Tiguan.
it was just this shot. I was like, I don't care what the rest of her portfolio looks like. This this chick is amazing, you know? And then like when I clicked on her rest of her stuff, it was like I was right. I was like, yep. this girl is good. I love it. You know me, for me to be like jazzed about a 2D artist like this, it's like pretty good. So cool. So this is, and then I just realized this Highway to Hell is some kind of book or something, but this is what she's doing for Inktober. I was like, oh, cool. Cause I think it's colored. I think there's colored versions of this too. Cause I see in the description here, there's this here Highway to Hell Project Ghetto. I don't know. And like you can go to her artwork there on there. And it's a game. She's a 2D artist at RJ Games. And I'm like, oh, I like the colored version too. So they're like, she's like showing her process. You know, I know you guys like process. So like go back through and look at some of these like breakdown sheets and stuff of her, of like how she was referencing the look for this game. It's really interesting. And they're like nice and big. So you have to like click on them and then click on the bigger versions of them so you can really get what she was doing with all these things. So this is a game she's been working on. Love this stuff here. Like if you want to know how to be a concept artist, like this is the kind of stuff you need to be like thinking out the box with, you know, especially for games and stuff like that. It's not just drawing cool characters. Like, yo, you need to do layout. Like this like sets you apart from everybody else. If it looks good too, because that's what they need, you know. I didn't know what these streets look like. Like I didn't know what these vending machines look like. You know, this is like a really cool game. I need to look up this game because it looks cool. Look at this like little style frame of what the actual game is gonna look like. Like I was like, oh, this looks really cool. Look at this thing. You know, kind of cool. All right, so let's get to her extra stuff. So that's kind of still that's what brought me in. let's go to her page here. Here we go. So there's the first couple stuff from Inktober she's been doing. Some of the new stuff, which here's some other black and white stuff. Look at that. Her black and white stuff is like really cool.
Really nice.
It's like really nice, you know. And I was like, you know, like the whole secret thing. Huh?
Brilliant composition.
Right? Yeah. Like, look at this. Like how the way the lighting is and stuff. And this guy here alone was like, she went with that whole. It's really good. Gets more detail as you like look closer to it. So that's kind of cool. Go back. Let me get off the black and white, but shorter stuff. She even has some colored version stuff of that too, which is kind of cool. You know, really nice. And now we get into like a different style, but like she has just a lot of nice different things in here. Like if you look through her portfolio, it's like varied of different things based on the styles of the game she's worked on. But she caught my eye, you know, as where it's like just different, even within this style, like there's just a bunch of different things here, you know, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, her name is Anastasia Bobnova, and she's awesome. Check her out. She's got like concept for days. Yeah, she's good. Get her in your life. Check her out.
Cool.
Nice. I like it.
So I'm doing Sebastian Cavazzoli art. He's a modeler, and he uses Blender.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
It actually caught my eye because it straight up looks like a Mike Henry modeler.
It does.
But he actually pulls his designs from other artists. So the cool thing, go down the rabbit hole and click on each one of these and then go to the source.
Mm-hmm.
And that will lead you to some also pretty awesome artists. But what I think is really cool is even though the source designs are based off other people's art, he's found a way to unify it and really make it all kind of look like his own.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely tell it's like all from the same guy, which I really appreciate because, you know, it's easy when you're just doing other people's designs to kind
That Mr. Bean.
of. And he's only been going for a little while. Like, this is a very short feed.
Oh, he's new. Oh.
You can see, like, how simple his early stuff was. He still, you know, had the sense of design, but it was very simple. And then it's like the immediate progress. You know, like you could tell he just fell in love with this and just got obsessed.
Yep.
And the cool thing is you can also find him on YouTube, and he does Blender tutorials, full on, you know, like step by step.
He's using a new 2.8.
Yeah, step by step. He does the blocking, the finished, and then he even shows you how to render it. He's got some really good stuff. I was watching him earlier today.
Yeah, he's doing a new layout. We're gonna talk about that.
Oh, hey.
The week's coming.
Quick little shout out to our brother over there in at CG Cookie. Looks like Sebastian wrote an article for them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He's got yeah. Way cool.
Yeah, Blender's doing some cool stuff, guys, and we'll talk about it more and more as the weeks and months come.
Sebastian Cavazzoli.
Good job. That's awesome.
Cavazzoli. Sorry, Sebastian.
Hey, we butchered your name. Sorry.
All right. So with that, my friends, let's go ahead and bring this bad boy in for a landing. Hey, Charlie, if people are trying to catch up with you online, where can they find you?
You can find me a bunch of places. You can find me on Instagram. I'm on there a lot. Instagram.com, CharlieBW3. You can find me on my website, cargocollector.com/Charlie B. Williams. Search for me in Google, Charlie B. Williams. I come up, I dominate the page because that's what I do. Almighty Pinterest, Pinterest.com/CharlieBW3. Get some inspiration, bunch of different things. If you like this segment, I have a bunch of stuff on there to learn, make it better. It's just cool-ish.
Make
Check
you
it out.
better.
Get in your life.
Do that. Hey, Jack, where can people find you?
You can find me at sketchbookjack.com and sketchbookjack on Instagram, Pinterest, and a couple of other places.
Yeah, buddy. And you can find me.
And on the Animated Journey podcast that just came out this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plug it.
She puts a lot of work into that. It's a really good episode too. I've been listening to her for this was what 84, I think it was 81 or 84 or something like that. Anyway, yeah, you guys should follow her too. She's sketchysoul.com and says sketchy soul kind of everywhere else. But she's been on the show too. She's a wonderful human. I'm looking forward to bumping into her again. Probably at Ground Zero. But anyway, you can find me. I'm Carlos. You can find me at coconutjustice.com, Coconut Justice, pretty much everywhere else. This is Sketch Zone. Go to sketch.zone and you can find all the links to everywhere we are. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're on Instagram, this week we are drawing a ripped octopus screaming. And if you post that to Instagram, make sure that you tag us, go through the process of actually clicking on the button. It's fine if you at Sketch Zone podcast us, but that gets lost in the shuffle with everything else. So go through the process of actually tagging us. And then that way we can share your artwork and we can show it on the show. If you're watching us on Twitch, subscribe up there. If you're watching us on Netflix, subscribe down there. And Sylvester said that made a whole movie on Netflix with just they made him cool. Yeah.
They did.
So yeah, and if you're like Sylvester or Steve or who else was here, Mind One, all you guys, Joey Wall, congratulations, Joey Wall. I'll be reaching out to you. We're gonna send you the sketch wallet and all the other goodies that come in here. Come in this package.
Steve.
Yeah, come out, hang out, ask a bunch of questions. We're not afraid. If we don't know, we'll find out. But if you can't catch up to us live, you can find us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and of course iTunes. I believe that's it. We got everything covered. Everyone have a wonderful week.
All right, guys. See you later.
Guys.